Well, it's been NASCAR tradition for a very long time to start the racing season on the high banks of Daytona in February. Well, it's not February anymore, it's almost July, but that's okay because for the longest time it was July racing at Daytona that happened under the lights here on this 2.5-mile tri-oval. It's the beginning of the season for the Area League season, and this time it's a non-points event in the Gen 4 Cup cars in two 25-lap sprints. No points, all fun here at Daytona. Kyle Heyer joined by Finian DeCuna. Finian, welcome aboard. I'm hot off of Pikes Peak last weekend and firing right into the area season. But before we get to accumulating points across 17 rounds throughout most of the rest of the year, we get to have one night of racing where it's all for fun.
Yeah, can't wait to see these guys get underway here for not only just another preseason race, but also beginning season 6 of the Area Racing League. These guys have put on fantastic shows season after season after season. We have a fantastic race lineup tonight. As you can see from the B-roll, this is not the wrong one. Normally we do the preseason shootout at the old version of Daytona, but now we're doing it here for this season at the newer version. Nice and flat for these drivers to work with. Should see some high speed and some high octane action.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's relatively cool out there tonight as well. Almost 30 cars will be going racing here this evening. Qualifying is happening right now. We'll get down to the racetrack here in just a moment's time. And as we do that, we'll remind you that this is going to be, again, a non-points race. We've got our normal duels and setup for Daytona in a couple of weeks, and we'll kick the season off in the second week. I believe it's the second week of July. So this is what's going to happen tonight. No points, all fun. We'll head down to the racetrack here for qualifying, and there's a whole bunch of drivers here that we're familiar with, Finian, including Seth Knoll, the number 1. And he's going to be one of the first drivers out on course to make his qualifying run. Now, also, I should note, we got some new toys here. I've got some lights in the back row, which I'm pretty stoked about. And we'll also have a new graphics package for the beginning of the season as far as the ticker and things of the sort. So all fun things coming your way on Sim TV here as we get into the second half of 2024.
Yeah, I thought I saw some new lights in your background in one camera shot. I was like, those lights were not there before.
No, they were not. They are now. I really wanted to hook them up to the flags, but the lights I have aren't compatible with SimHub, unfortunately. But regardless, let's get down to the racetrack and get qualifying underway here. Again, this is probably the least consequential qualifying of the entire season, but it's all in the name of fun as Jeremy Miller heads onto the back straightaway. Self-described plate goat, getting things done here.
Yeah, getting out there, getting ready to put one lap down, and one lap only down for these drivers is the same rule I think is going to be applying across the whole series on the bigger tracks. One lap only for these drivers to put down in qualifying. And again, like you mentioned, not a whole lot you really need to do. Just keep it down towards that double yellow line. And just keep your foot on the gas all the way around. You can see Miller actually going straight below there. This is totally legal on the apron. Trying to get that much more, a couple thousandths of a second more, and he'll be the first driver to put a time down.
183.389 miles an hour, and he is bested by Connor Horn, who goes to the top, and Connor Urashak goes to the top, and this will be a common story here as drivers continue to put down their times. 183.58 miles an hour. And of course, we also have our previous season champion joining us, Michael Curhan in the 24, and he's got his signs as he always does. And he says, I love the area season starting again like the Haktua girl loves her Pookie.
Sure.
Brain rot TikTok, baby. Gotta love it.
Is that where that's from?
What, Haktua thing?
Yeah.
Have you not been in the loop on that?
I don't have TikTok.
Oh, Finian.
I'm become a boomer, slowly but surely.
Okay, well,
I refuse to download TikTok. I watch a lot of them, but I don't, not on my own app.
I'll send you links after, because I don't know that it's... But, yeah. There's Travis Beckner. New livery on board this car. Again, this is the Gen 4 Cup car. We're not running the season in this machine in Season 6. This is just our fun night machine. So, a little bit different livery here. A couple notes that we should get out of the way as we continue to watch qualifying. There's... For segment 1, 25 laps. Segment 2, 25 laps. The payouts for first, second, and third in the first segment, $25, $15, and $10. And in segment 2, 60, 25, 15. And the caution will be thrown as soon as the leaders cross the stripe to complete lap 25. And in segment 2, there's an invert. Drivers will pit and be called out of pit lane in reverse order for the second segment. And you do not have to take tires and or fuel.
That's going to make things really interesting then for segment number 2, that next 25-lap sprint to the end. $150 on the line for these drivers tonight. As you mentioned, the top 3 payouts in each segment, especially the one near the end, $60 to the winner. And of course, Casey Lakatos, winner of this race last season. Actually, he's actually, speaking of which, just getting out on the track to get his warm-up lap underway.
Casey Lakatos on the road now. As he gets up to speed, you'll notice some new partners in the top right. Elite Entertainment joins us this season. Glad to have them on board. And we've got a handful of others that you'll see rotate up their Sim Racer hub as well. And a few more, including Blue Tip Pool Builders, the High Banks Podcast, and Slinger Racing Graphics, in addition to Florida State Builders, Sim Racer Hub, I mentioned before, Elite Entertainment, HelloFresh, and of course, all the drivers and teams for being here for yet another season. This is season 6. Was it season 2 that we began with this group, Finney? And it's been a number of years.
End of season 2, yeah. End of season 2. So it's been a long partnership that all of a sudden with this group of guys, and honestly, fantastic. One of the best oval races we've seen on the service. Constant entertaining racing, close racing with these guys as qualifying has come to an end.
Yeah, Casey Lakatos didn't get that lap in either, so he'll start at the tail alongside Jake Nichols, Joshua Balliet, and Jacob Bell. But you mentioned, this great partnership. It has been a couple of years now, and I think one of the great things about this league is that they've got so much stability with the way that they've constructed this, with the charters, with the team system, and of course with the prizes and payouts and things of the sorts. They have got a really stable base for competition, and I think that's really panned out well for them in keeping a consistent group throughout a season, which, Finney, and that's been the hardest thing, is not only keeping drivers from season to season, but throughout a season, especially with a playoff format. They've really, I think, struck gold with the way that they are organizing this league and keeping drivers around.
Yeah, and just shout out to the drivers as well for sticking it out for a majority of the season. Because, of course, there's no obligation, really, to stick around for majority of the season, right? It's not like they have a contract till the end of the season to run it out. But guys sticking it out, they're running, keeping the car counts high even towards the end of the season. We're still finishing off seasons with nearly 30 drivers in place. So, fantastic to see Justin Munsell there getting ready. A couple drivers getting ready in the warm-up session.
Got a beer,
and
too.
Also having, a nice cold beer. Do not drink and drive, please. Unless you're in a simulator. By all means, then go hog wild.
Yeah, not in real life, at least, but here in the sim, I wouldn't.
Taking a little nappy?
Wouldn't recommend it. There's JT Poole definitely taking his little nappy.
Don't fall asleep behind the wheel either.
Yeah,
in real life.
Yeah, these guys are not demonstrating. At least Travis Beckner doesn't have the dome light on. All the parents told you never to have the dome light on, because it was illegal.
Oh, yeah. Get thrown in jail for that.
Connor Horn, he'll be joining us in the booth most races this season in season number 6. Finian will be joining you on occasion, and he'll be running some shows when I'm out at either Grid Life or SRO from here on out. And, of course, we've got Eric Wineland as well. So we have a couple minutes left here in the warm-up. And we'll remind you again that this is 2 25-lap segments. This is going to be a pretty quick race as opposed to what we've seen in the past, Vinny. And so expectations for tonight, is the aggression level going to be higher because of that midway payout, do you think? And how important is it just to get to the end? Would you rather just try to get to halfway and try to snag one of those payouts because the end obviously will be so challenging?
And that's the fun part, right? Because it's like, well, do I want to set myself up better for the end of the race? Because 25 laps is not a whole lot of laps. So, and we have a decently sized field. I think we have almost 25 drivers set to take the green flag here. Do I want the money for that, at the halfway point? It's only $25 for winning after halfway. Or do I want to set myself up, lay back, start near the back, finish the first segment near the back, start near the front in segment 2, and go for those $60. So that's going to be the big trade-off. We're going to see some guys maybe feeling like they got a better chance near the end. They may just try to lay it out back and save their stuff for the end. Some drivers might feel like, oh, here's a chance I can get just a little bit of money towards that midway part. And I think we're going to see really a lot of these guys take it easy. The beginning of both these runs, and then pushing really hard near the end when that money's on the line.
Well, race fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. As a subscriber, you'll have Area iRacing emotes to use in the chat. You'll also earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise, all at the price of just $5 a month. That's twitch.tv/Area iRacing. Make sure that you don't miss it. And race fans, make sure you also check out shop.areairacing.com for all the selections of champion hoodies, jackets, and sweatshirts before they're gone. Easier to shop, quicker to ship, better to wear. That's shop.areairacing.com. Some great merchandise we've seen out of that site, and I've wanted to get myself my own. Waiting for the right meme to come around before I'll drop some coin on it, but I'm excited. Take a look at some of the cars and liveries we didn't get a lot of chance to look at during qualifying. There's Connor Horn in the 609 Motorsports car. Love the Monte Carlo on that. Justin Anasogak, he's always a threat when we come to these plate race tracks. And of course, John Hall. What a successful season the entire team had. Was it back in the Truck Series last year?
Yeah. They had a really solid program going for them in that series and rocking around there. It's so weird to see Celsius and not see Seth Knoll. I feel like I've mostly associated him with that sponsor in this series.
Ryan, what are we running GTRs? What's going on here? Ryan Hart's, and
hey, it seems like it.
That's the 43 behind him of Matthew Bell.
First time I've seen a Nissan on.
This is cursed.
On this body.
I have never. Have you ever?
No, I've never.
Getting a pair of Godzillas down the back straightaway here at Daytona, getting warmed up.
Yeah, usually seen Toyota, Chevy, Ford, Dodge, Pontiac. Never seen Nissan on these cars.
Yeah,
well, we'll say very good implementation, as cursed as it is.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen worse. Trust me. All right, well. Practice, warm-up, qualifying, they're all complete. And we're going to head down to the racetrack here in just a moment's time to get our preseason shootout for Season 6 underway. And again, apologies if I sound a little off tonight. Again, I'm coming hot off a Pikes Peak International Hill Climb the other night, which, again, is one of the great world events. I'm so proud to be a part of that. But at altitude, it's a long, long day. And the flight back and the long days were not kind to me, so I'm going to be popping some lozenges to keep myself lubricated throughout the evening here. So bear with me if you can. And Finney, it's time to head down to the racetrack here in just a moment. It'll be about a 40-minute race, but you're going to have to tack some yellows onto that to see how it all pan out.
Yeah, let's see how crazy it's going to get. I expect we may see guys play a little bit calm near the beginning parts of the race, and then maybe get more chaotic near the end, especially now being on the more flat version, the newer version of Daytona compared to the Daytona 08 scan.
Look at the weather here. 78 in the air, 80 degrees on the track. Nice and cool, partly cloudy skies. And, of course, it is moonlit right now. No sun to be had at this point. 28 cars we'll be taking to the grid here in a moment. We'll wait until they start to roll to run you through all of them. But, all right, well, let's look down a couple other drivers we haven't mentioned in the warm-up. Blaze McKinney in the 87. Nice Midwestern electric scheme on that car. Eric Weiland in the number 21. Running the Dodge paint. Garrett Grant, the Chris Sports Cards number 5. David Weishart joins us again. Cedric Hunter as well. Waiting for Connor and Travis to grid before we turn him loose. Now, Seth Knoll is going to start on the pole this race here, Finian. He's a driver we always have to watch at these plate tracks. We mentioned that Jeremy Miller is also a driver to watch. He is going to roll off in 10th place. Who's the dark horse in this pack?
Who's the dark horse? That's a big question. I would say maybe. I'd say Casey Lakatos won this race last year. It came down to some fuel mileage and him just kind of working that to get to the end. And of course, if he pulled it off once, no saying that he can't pull it off again. Of course, near the back because he wasn't able to get a qualifying time in. But like we mentioned, probably the best place to not get a qualifying lap in is at this event.
Yep. Non-points, just cash on the line here tonight. All the cars are gridded, and you know what that means. It's time for our one pace lap. And let's kick things off now with our starting lineup here. On the front row, as we mentioned before, pole sitter for this race, Seth Knoll in the number 1. James Scioli starts alongside him in the number 7, Finian.
Car number 2 is going to be Conor Urshak in the number 12 machine next to him. JT Poole rolling off in 4th in the number 26.
And in 5th place is Justin Munsell making his return in the number 6 car. Mason Kane starts 6th in the 31. He's still looking for victory here in the Area Series.
Connor Horn going to be lined up in 7th place in the number 42. Next to him, Travis Beckman in the number 28 in 8th.
In 9th place, it's Brad Slaughter Jr. in the 81, and Jeremy Miller rolls off 10th in the number 30. Plate Goat, self-described, in row 5.
Michael Curran, the Area Cup Series champion, lined up in the 11th place position in the 24 car next to him. John Hall in the 03 lineup in 12th.
Greg Mitchell starts 13th in the number 2. Justin Anasogak 14th in the number 88.
Going back to 15 to be Cameron Hearn in the number 4 next to him. Alan Underwood in the 49 in 16th.
In 17th, it's Blaze McKinney in the 87, and Eric Weiland starts in 18th in the 21.
Garrett Grant's going to be lined up in the 5 in 19. Next to him, David Weishart in the 33 lineup in 20th.
And 21st place, Cedric Hunter in the 13. Matthew Bell starts 22nd in the 43.
Lineup in 23rd, it's going to be Ryan Hart's number 3. Next to him, Jake Nichols in the 73 in 24th.
25th place is going to be Joshua Balliet. And Casey Lakatos, your dark horse pick, starts 27th in the number 50.
And moving on back, we have Jacob Bell lined up in 28th. And actually Connor Kresick, who's for some reason not showing up on the scoring, in the number 14 car lineup. He's actually in 28th. I think Bell's in 27.
Okay, well, I had you pick the 50 as a dark horse. Who do you actually think is going to win so we can get on Michael Curhan's points board here early?
Oh boy, oh boy. Oh, this is going to be a quick pick here. Let's see. I'm feeling Connor Horn in the 42.
I'm going to take the pole sitter, Seth Knoll. I think he gets it done. He has been solid here at Daytona. Well, Season 6 is upon us here in the Area League. And it's time for the preseason shootout here at Daytona. Kyle Heyer alongside Finian DeCuna. Here we go, up on the high banks, all for cash and no points. Green flag, and we're racing at Daytona. Off into turn 3 for the first time. James Scioli pulling ahead with help from JT Poole. That all gold car, by the way, that's an easy one to spot as he tucks in behind the 7 on the high side.
Yeah, Travis Beckner, number 26. Sorry, that's JT Poole in 26. Lined up in 4th, trying to push around the outside. And leading lap 1 is going to be James Scioli by just a hair on the outside line, being pushed by that gold 26. On the bottom, Seth Knoll trying to see if he can get something going. Connor Yurshak in that pink salmon for 12.
Yeah, 2 tidy lines for now, and with how quickly this is going to go by, I don't know how long it will stay tidy for, but with cash on the line, I think you tend to see some drivers be a lot more cautious because they just want to make it, and some that just throw all the caution to the wind. There's Travis Beckner in the 28. Up on the high side behind the Huckett Films car, that's Mason Kane in the 31. It's Justin Munsell in the bottom, 2x2.
2x2 they go, and again, like I mentioned before, I think we're going to see this a lot for the early parts of the season. Wow, he really needs to turn on another light. You can barely see his face.
It's dark out, Vinny. We're not racing in the day like we did in the past. He's committing to the bid.
Yeah, he's going out there on currently 4th on the outside lane, 8th overall at the moment. But like I mentioned, everyone is taking it easy, calm, but this is definitely the calm before the storm.
Down the Daytona super stretch. Challenges of this car are really just, you can't really bump draft like you can with the newer cars. The bumpers don't line up quite as easily. Connor Horn sitting behind Justin Munsell, and you have to lift. Don't really have much of a choice.
Yeah, and we saw that a lot be a very big issue at the older version of Daytona. Guys are trying to push because it's so easy to get up to each other because the way the car was bouncing up and down, with the drivers losing speed, and the guys in the draft were able to get more of an advantage, and everyone was kind of pushing and shoving and turning those around. But again, with this much smoother surface, a lot easier to maintain control of the car. And while we won't see some bumping now, you can bet that people are going to try to push, again, a little bit later on in these runs. So that's where you're going to see guys, when they start to get more comfortable, that's when they're going to get a little bit more pushy-shovey.
Up on the way top side there, is that Brad Slaughter in the 81? Yes, it is, in the Simrat Market car, making it 3 wide. He's got John Hall in the middle, and behind him is Justin Anasogak in the 88, another driver that is persistently up front, and now sucker hold in the middle is John Hall. Big check up on the bottom of the 24, gets sideways.
Whoa.
He saves it somehow, chases it across the road, and I cannot believe they didn't just wad him up there.
Yeah, everyone got a little bit loose there, especially drumming on the brakes, trying to get off the gas, and they'll continue on. 3 wide still up near the front. After that massive checkup, it's going to be Mason Kane that's going to try to take it around the outside. He's getting some help from the 20 of Travis Beckner.
Oh, trouble. The 21 to the bottom of the racetrack, and back up. Slams into the 33, sends him around for a spin.
Oh, Cardinal and several.
David Weishart's in it. 43's in it, and more. First caution of the night, lap 5.
That'll go, and that 33 car is destroyed.
I will say, who was the first car? It was the 21 that went around first, right?
I think so.
He just got tagged by the 30 of Miller. That's what gets the 33 turned around, and then they're behind him. They just piled in there.
Yeah, huge. 43 came flying into the 33 of Weishart. That was Matthew Bell that collided with him.
Oh, man, and he tried to miss it. He ran himself into the wall trying to miss it.
Look, Blaze McKinney there on the apron trying to avoid it. He avoided disaster.
Gosh, the 43 up and on top of the 33 of Weishart. A couple drivers just trying to sneak through here. Who's that at the very end? Is that the 2 of Greg Mitchell? Yeah, let's see what he sees from his perspective.
He starts spinning up on the wall, gets in the back of the 24, and
and violent wreck. Had to come to a stop, and it just slid around as he tried to grind it down. Things happen fast, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
So that all
going 200 miles an hour.
That all started a little while after Michael Curhan's big moment.
Yeah, let's take a look at that. This is almost the wreck.
Well, there's a big checkup ahead of him, and he gets hit from behind by the number 2, interestingly enough. But where did that checkup start? If we go back and look at the front.
You know, it was when they went initially 3 wide.
Oh, the 12, yeah, right there. The 26 and the 12 got close, and that kind of creates that whole stack up.
Yeah, the 2 hit the back of the 24, picked those real wheels up, like you mentioned. Was the reason why these guys are trying to avoid making bumper-to-bumper contact.
So first caution of the night on lap number 750. On lap 5, rather. We're a couple laps into the yellow at this stage. Seth Knoll leads the way. Mason Kane second. Ryan Hartz is out. David Weishart is on pit lane, but that car is looking pretty secondhand.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd be surprised if he gets back out there. He's going to be a couple laps down, if anything.
Well, I didn't talk to him about this beforehand, but I think, well, we've got a yellow. We might as well drag in Connor Horn and chat with him here real quick. Hey, Connor, you got a copy?
Hi, yes, I do.
I didn't talk to you about pulling you in, but I figured I would give it a go. Preseason shootout, cash is on the line. Things got pretty crazy there early on. 3 wide didn't last for too long. How is it out there? How does it feel?
It feels gridlocked, these Gen 4 cars. It's so hard to garner a run. It's not like the next-gen car. Even Cup and Truck, or Xfinity and Truck, you can kind of get better runs. These are kind of gridlocked. They changed the physics so you can bump draft a little bit now. And they were very aggressive in practice with it. I feel like I'm comfortable with it. I don't know why the checkup happened in the 3. I think it caused a wreck behind me, because I reacted late. But then there was another crash after that. But it's kind of hard to get runs, and I kind of got stuck on the bottom because I restarted there. I went 7th to 11th, and I'm still restarting on the bottom. So it's tough to gain a run. You really have to be the first one to the line to make it move. So I'm going to try to force my way up there somehow.
Well, Connor, best of luck to you. We'll send you back down there to your teammate. Well, hopefully we'll talk to you later.
Yes, sir. See you there.
All right, Connor Horn, 11th at the moment. And we should be getting the 1 to green this time. But just to mention how quickly this race goes by, we're only a couple laps from halfway of that first segment. So if you get green flag laps, Finney, this is going to go by very fast.
Yeah, it is definitely going to go by really fast. Before we go back to green, I just want to point out, if you can look at Connor Kresik's car, because I think we missed him out when we're going through paint schemes. Very interesting paint scheme on that car.
Oh, what is that? A Kia Stinger?
It is a Kia Stinger. Yep.
So but he's part of the same team.
Yes.
So
they brought 2 Nissan GTRs and a Kia Stinger. One of these things is not like the other.
Man, I had a Hyundai, some big Hyundai. What's the big Hyundai SUV?
Oh, you're asking the wrong person.
As a rental. Now, I stood in line. By the way, budget rental. Okay, so it was the only rental place that had cars left. I had to wait 3.5 hours once I got out to the Denver airport and got to the place. 3.5 hours from when I got off the bus at the rental place to when I drove away in a car. I don't leave 1-star Karen reviews a lot, but I left a 1-star Karen review with photos.
Remember when we were able to book a budget rental and then we got to the airport and they're like, yeah, we can't give you a car because you're under 25.
Yeah, and you're like, well, what was the booking process then? You know how to take the reservation. But you know how to keep the reservation.
Yeah, I was going to say, I paid for the car already. You took my money. Give me car.
Oh, boy. Well, anyway, that aside, these guys are going to be driving these things like Reynolds here, driving them like they stole them as they get back to the green flag condition here in just a moment's time. Lights are off atop the pace car. We're headed back underway. Calling it the pace car almost feels wrong. I've been doing road racing stuff for like the last 5 months consistently.
Safety car.
Yeah, now I'm back to oval stuff here again tonight. This is the first oval race we've called since the season finale of last season.
Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been like 2 months.
I always get stoked because I kind of miss it. But here we go. Area preseason shootout, lap number 9. Seth Knoll, Mason Kane are on the front row, and here we go once more. Wait for the gantry to light up and the flag to go waving. We're back underway here at Daytona. Big lane change to the upper groove there for Seth Knoll. Wasn't waiting around.
Yeah, I wonder if that was planned or not. It looked like maybe a slight bump gone wrong. James Kelly trying to bump his teammate, the one of Seth Knoll, and sent him a bit up the track, and then it looked like the one just decided to stay up there. Might have been planned so they can control both lanes. That's always a smart strategy we see. Although you can see Mason Kane out waiting for everyone. Doesn't want to sit behind the slow for a guy. He's going to make a third lane work on the outside with Connor Urashak.
Yeah, this is making me nervous already. We're 3 abreast again into turn 3. And that's very, very tight. A little bit of slipping and sliding around, but so far so good here.
Keep it going as they're getting up to speed. You're starting to see drivers be a little bit more bold instead of staying nose to tail, double line. And you're seeing at least one group of drivers trying to make it 3 wide, but it looks like no one else is going with it. Mason Kane trying to get Urashak back there. Ooh. A little bit of slipstream, gets back in line.
Big lane change there to the center of the road. And on the top side now, Urashak is all by himself. Now 2x2 mostly. Down the super stretch, working lap 10 of 50. And one of these days that camera will work. I got lucky in the full set race.
You get wrong most of the time with that one shot when it works. Oh, it works so well.
Still 3 wide with the 26 of JT Poole in the center. He's got the 12 of Urashak to his outside. Big wiggle there by the 81 of Brad Slaughter as well. He doesn't look very comfortable where he's at. Still set.
Yeah, I was just about to point that out as well. I looked, the audience had a little bit of movement, but the car looked very loose. Not sure just with the cars around him, reducing the amount of air going over the spoiler on that 81.
Average speed's almost 200 miles an hour right now. That's fast in this car.
Yeah, very fast, and you're making it very slippery again with this car. You know, side drive becoming much more of a more recent thing in super speedway racing, and drivers taking advantage of that.
I think the thing to consider also is that this body wouldn't have run on the super speedways. They had dedicated bodies that were shaped very differently.
You're right.
So makes these a bit of a strange car, I think, for this particular kind of racing. 3x3 at the front, and Mason Kane split in the middle. JT to the top. And that is the 7 of Scioli on the bottom of the pink car. Or purple, I suppose.
Yeah, so definitely purple on that. A lovely shade of purple there. Oh, and it looks like the 6 of Justin Munsell dipped out of line. He's dropping back. He's had enough.
Yeah, doesn't like what he sees. I'll be honest, I don't either. 3x3, 4 rows deep. That is a recipe for disaster this early in the race. They're doing it.
Trying to make it work. See how long it lasts. Oddly enough, that last wreck wasn't really when they were 3 wide. It was towards the end of the 3 wide pack that a wreck occurred. So this definitely could go on for a while if everyone plays patient. But, you know, with money on the line, I think patience just gets thrown out the window.
Yeah, I mean, this is a short race and broken up into segments where there's cash on the line at the end of both. That's going to ramp things up a lot quicker than we would have in the past with just I think it was just a 70-lap race previously. But we're not seeing huge runs. Connor mentioned that in his interview that you don't get those massive runs like you get in the contemporary cars. So that might reduce some of the accident opportunity, right? Because really those accidents are caused by differences in pace more than they are just the groups of cars together.
I'll check up on the outside lane. They're starting to lose a little bit of steam. Blaze beginning the back. I'm going to pull back to the bottom lane. Looks like they're making a little bit more progress.
73 of Jake Nichols started at the tail of the field, and look at what he sees out the windshield. This is getting pretty chaotic, but he's going to drive right into the center of the tornado here.
Yeah, up he goes, trying to make some progress. One of the biggest movers of this race. Yeah, kind of stuck in the middle at the moment, though. Can't go left, can't go right, can't go forward. It's kind of stuck with all the cars around him.
There's a pack. Well, it's not really much of a pack. Eric Wineland and Cameron Hearn are 6 seconds back. They're just playing the smart. They're going for the big bucks at the end of the race.
I don't think that's playing. I think they got a lot of damage, and that's what's kind of causing them to stay back more.
That too.
I don't think this is definitely playing. They're very far off the pace. They're only heading around at 180 miles an hour compared to the near 200 with these guys as they head off into turn one.
Well, at the end of the race, being the least damage is useful, so you just don't want to get more. So I think my point still stands. 49 of Alan Elwood is in the middle of everything too. That Simrat Market car, you see him right there, the green and black, middle of the road. Scioli pulling ahead, and this is got to be exhausting here to hold this car this tidy for this long. The nighttime temperatures help. Really cool track temp for Florida standards at 80 degrees, but you're still moving around quite a bit.
Yeah, especially for Justin Asoga. He's dead in the middle of this pack, can't go really anywhere. He's stuck in formation, whether he likes it or not. So he's got to maintain that. He's got to watch drivers on the left, on the right, in front of him, and behind him, and just got to keep that car out of harm's way. And you see JT Poole go from top to bottom to secure that lead. Brad Slaughter and Mason Kane still racing out behind him, as well as the 7 of James Scioli.
And JT, big elevator move top to bottom, all the way down to the lobby, and he'll get a bit of a shot from the 7, but it's not enough to keep the 81 of Brad Slaughter Jr. from getting a huge shot from the 12 of Urashak, and here comes Kane now up the center.
Yeah, I think Slaughter's trying to see if he can get enough of a shove to clear for the lead, but he couldn't quite get clear, and he's stuck in behind. I'll have to try again here and hopefully get a big shot from the 12, but looks like Urashak really good at giving pushes to drivers. He's pushed the 26 to the lead, they're trying to push the 81 to it.
21 cars past the start line in a blink of an eye. Very, very close. Laps are winding down to that 25 point where we get that first segment and the yellow flag.
Yeah, the first set of payouts here you're going to watch again in the next couple laps is going to start hitting heated near the front. Only the top 3 getting some money, and actually speaking getting heated, it's going to get heated soon because coming up to some lap cars, Matthew Bell and Greg Mitchell very slow and off the pace, and these guys are coming up fast.
JT on the bottom. There's Brad Slaughter Jr. in the center in that Toyota Corolla. And out of turn 4, that center lane gets a nice run. I think that's the hardest place to be, though.
Oh, they're going to get lap cars in the corner. This is going to get interesting. Now it looks like Matthew Bell is going to pull off to the side of the track.
That was wise.
Let them on by.
And Mitchell looks like he's aiming to stay high, but they're already 3 wide, so it's going to be 4. Here we go.
That's going to be ugly.
Down the backstretch, going to be a tight squeeze, 4 abreast. And somehow they get the front runners by him at least. Nicely done by everybody there.
Yeah, I think they were lucky too. They caught him on the straightaway, not in the turns. I think it was in the turns, it would have been a different story. A lot more to consider. Whoa, some contact between the 1 of Seth Knoll, almost turning around the 31 of Mason Kane. That would have caused a huge
big
wreck.
wiggle. Urashak got a shot from behind from one of those GTRs.
No, that's the Stinger.
Dang it.
Get it right. It's the Kia Stinger.
It's the only
one. I think the 2 GTRs are junked, so I think he's the only one left.
Only time a Kia Stinger has ever been mistaken for a GTR in its entire existence. The 81, center of the road here. Look at a big shove coming from the 1 and the 26 on the 31. Look at how the front bumpers dive under the rear bumpers there. That lineup, that's where you get yourself into trouble, especially off into the corners. But there's still 3 across. This is crazy. I haven't seen them do this long, this successfully in quite some time.
Yeah, and again, it's all with some money on the line as well, so I don't think we're going to be as tidy as it is right now with the next couple of laps here. About 6 laps to go till halfway until we get that first caution.
Yeah, 6 laps. There's a gyro over the shoulder cam here, Vanasogak. This is claustrophobic almost. Off into the 31-degree banking here at Daytona. That's the 42 of Connor Horn on his outside, the 7 of Scioli to his inside. Thread the sequence there with Connor Okresic, and keep your foot in it.
Yeah, for him, he's been stuck in this formation for the last 10 laps and hasn't really got anywhere. He's near the front, but again, if he wants any money, he's going to have to really push or try to squeeze his way into the top or bottom lane if something opens up.
coming to 5 laps to go in the segment. And remember that the winner gets $25. That's a track and a car or 2 cars in iRacing dollars. And second place 15, third place 10. And from fourth on back, you get nada. You got to try again in segment 2.
And in this lead group, we have just about 17 cars all within half a second of each other.
And every last one of them thinks they can win this race.
Well, I don't even think about the end of the race right now. I think they're thinking of winning the segment, majority of them. I see some separation there. Brad Slaughter clear on the bottom. The Lex not to take. That allows Mason Kane to come back up.
That was a little tight there out of 4. Kane was having trouble keeping it down. 4 laps to go. Jurashak with a shot from the 14 of Okrezik. And Connor Horn's up there as well, following that stinger. That was a little bit wild off into the corner there for Connor Horn. He's a little bit up out of the groove. And the 88's going to take advantage of that and pull Elwood through with him.
Yeah, a little bit loose as well for the number 42. And that caused the outside lane to completely lose their steam. And now we'll see someone from the middle lane jump up to join them. Seth No looked like he was tempted to stick up there, but it's going to bring it back down to the middle.
Through 3 and 4. Kane and Jurashak have been persistent up here at the front. 3 laps to go. One of the things I hadn't thought about is we don't really have the existence of scoring loops here. So when the yellow comes out, if it's close on who was in ahead, it might be an interesting discussion to see who gives.
I mean, you can look at the standing tab.
Well, I guess you could look at the standing tab. Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah. Only lasts a lap, though, so you got to write those notes down fast, Jacob.
I am speed. 81.
Your Shaq feels like he's speed right now, leading up against the 81. Slaughter giving him a shove, though, trying to push him more to the lead.
Now, how much push can you take before you go around? 2 laps to go in the segment.
Now, if you're Brad Slaughter, do you defend this 3rd place, or do you go for the win?
That center lane has been a pretty good place to be. I'm not really upset with where Brad Slaughter is right there because you see the 12 pulled down. Now, if he can get a shove from the 1 of Seth Knoll, that would push him clear. So now the 12's going to move back up. The 81 gets into him. Oh, they're going to
here
crash.
They go. They're going to all check up. There he goes.
Jurashak around, and the big one at Daytona.
And saw that from a straightaway away as it came out of turn 2.
That was a whole bunch of cars. Mason Kane leads. We're coming to lap 25. I'd imagine that this is going to be treated as the segment end. So Kane, Poole, and Hall, in which case would be your prize winners. Kane 25, JT 15, and John Hall 10.
Yeah, confirmation from race control. This will be the stage break.
They were just too many cars. So well, let's back this up a bit more. So this starts really in the center of 1 and 2. Because watch the 81. He's going to try to go to the outside of the 12. This is what I was talking about in the moment, was if you get that big run and a push from the 1, you got to go for it here. Sees the gap open to the outside, tries to go there, gets to the back of the 12. The 12 comes to block, and then the 1 starts bouncing off of everybody, and that's where the 12 gets sent into the wall.
And around the rest of them go.
Not a lot of huge hits there. I see Alan Elwood got a piece, but I think mostly it was just a lot of sliding around. But here's Alan Elwood's perspective.
Yeah, some collisions with the wall, a lot of cars looping around, but for the most part, fairly light hits.
Right here, this one once, and then he's going to get a second one here.
That was a decent hit.
And someone went sailing down the inside of turn 3. I didn't get a number on it. Valiette? No, there's Beckner in the 28. Look at this.
That he wanted to stay out of it. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get in the top 3. He was able to get to 5th, though.
Woo! Man. All right, so here's the interesting thing now is with this format, drivers are going to head to pit lane, and they can choose service. They don't have to take service. But they're going to be called out of pit lane in reverse order of when they come in. The reason why I think this is interesting is, there are cars that are out of the race, Weishart, Hartz, and potentially Alan Elwood, but there are others that are still running that are in pretty bad shape. And Mitchell's on the lead lap, so would they put him up front? This is the interesting part of this format.
So I believe if they get, if they're on the lead lap, they will get the, they will get inverted. I guess the question is, he was a lap down, I think, before the caution, right?
Yeah, you're right about that. So that would leave Cameron Hearn potentially in that place. We will see. Left-hand side of your screen is the running order as it was at the tail end of that segment. Payne, Poole, Hall, Balliet, and Beckner are your top 5.
And it sounds like they're going to be coming down to pit lane this time by.
And this is caution laps do not count, correct?
What's that?
Is this caution laps do not count? My timer's not counting down.
It should be.
Okay. I've never actually been in a session in iRacing that had that.
Yeah, I was going to say, because we never did, we used to do some dirt races, but I think we did it before that was a feature.
That feature is relatively recent in SimTV land. The last time we did dirt was like 2019, I think.
Yeah, I think with the three-way guys, they had the Dirt Street Stock series.
Maybe 2020 a little bit. But on to pit lane, let's see. And I think 50 laps, you probably do have to take fuel, I'd assume, right?
Yeah, I would imagine you want to take some. I mean, you might as well, right? You're not coming out in you're being called out in a specific order, so.
Okay, might as well take four in fuel.
Yeah, because we've seen a couple guys get a little bit loose here and there. So, I mean, I figured, if you can, it's a free stop, you might as well take the 4 tires and get reset. So we're going to see, we're not going to see a race off of pit road because, of course, getting drivers called back out. So we're going to see most drivers pretty much just sit in their pit stall, and we'll find out what the order will be for the start of segment 2.
Yeah, it's basically just going to be in the reverse order of how they finish the segment. So now they're all mixed up because they're on the pit lane, but that's all the part of it. So this is the fun part about this preseason race, Finian, is that this is not what we're going to do for the rest of the year. We get to play around with different rule sets and kind of see how things work. But what the great part about these preseason events is that everyone gets to have a lot of fun before they get into serious mode, because once Daytona hits and we do the Area 500, it is game time from there on out. With the competition that we've seen in the past couple of seasons, these drivers are really serious about how they race, and it's good to just get some of the nerves out, get the fun out of the way before you have to go to work.
Yeah, and work's not even going to start necessarily at the 500. Work's going to start next week when we have the duels to set the qualifying order for the 500. That'll be July 1st, and then, of course, the Area 500 will be on July 8th in 2 weeks' time.
And we are now having the cars return to the racetrack. And, Finian, you've probably got the chat on. Have you heard the releases?
Yep, and they're lining up in order as they're running right now. Justin Munsell will be leading off. Then we got Jeremy Miller, Seth Knoll, Garrett Graham, Blaze McKinney, your top 5 as they continue to roll off of pit road.
All right, so the segment is supposed to be about 25 laps, but of course, we're going to get it'll be a few laps shorter than that because of the lap or two of catching the pace car and the outlap for the restart here. But Justin Munsell, Miller, Knoll, Grant, and McKinney, as you mentioned, your top 5. And the last handful of cars are being released off of pit lane. And we'll be going a lap down here, but they'll get that lap back to them. Alan Elwood is out. Matthew Bell is out. David Weishart is out. Ryan Hartz is out. All the other runners are still on the road. 2 yellows so far, one causing this segment break, the other very early on, involving the 33 of David Weishart and a handful of others. And we'll be doubling up here for the restart relatively shortly, and it'll be just over 20 laps to the end of this thing, Finian. So this invert kind of throws a wrench into things, doesn't it? I had the one Seth Knoll picked, though, so I don't mind where he's at.
Yeah, unfortunately for me, Connor Horn's in 17th, so a little bit more work for me, for him to do, for me. But I expect him to get near the front. But again, the big question is, can these drivers near the back get near the front? Because they have a lot of traffic to work through, and not a whole lot of laps on the board to do it.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty frantic run to the end here. I mean, every time we go to a plate track, we talk about, when is it go time? And typically that's, 10 to 15 laps before the end of the race. Well, this is going to be that as soon as we hit the green. So it is already going to be go time. And if we've learned anything about tonight, the aggression level is up. And Finian, you and I have always said that if you're aggressive goes around.
It's usually what ends up happening, right? A lot of times we pretty much saw it cause the second caution of the race. Was drivers being a little bit too aggressive, and then one getting looped around by another. Whereas Brad Slaughter and Connor Jurashek involved in that. Actually, Brad Slaughter went a lap down and seemed to get some repairs. I'm just wondering if he's going to get a lap back. Not too sure. That's going to be the big question mark.
Well, he'll probably have time to get it, right? Because we haven't gotten one to green
just yet.
He'll
He'll have time,
yet.
but I'm not sure if he's technically going to be allowed. It looks like he's going around the bottom.
And
maybe?
Should get the one to green this time. We do not, actually. Oh, there it is. Wait a second. It looks like
Seems
he's
like
going to fall on the line, yeah.
Yeah, so he's going to be a lap down. Which is not the end of the world. I think there's definitely a chance of a caution coming out before the end. So as long as he keeps it clean and tidy, he'll be the first car, and he's currently the only car allowed down.
Here's a look at Justin Munsell, your race leader for the restart. What's his shirt say? Big NASCAR guy? I'd say so. I forgot that the Chicago Street Race is next weekend. Coming to my hometown. And sounds like there's some exciting things happening in grid life world as opposed to who might be here next week. So I'm very excited about that. I don't think I have a lot to talk about it, but
NDA?
Sort of. You got to be in the know, right?
I mean, I guess. I guess so.
I know things you don't know. All right, let's get them re-racked and re-stacked here for the restart. There's your running order after the invert. And this is going to be pretty interesting, I think, with about 21 laps to go for the restart. Who is going to have the racecraft and the ability to last through the chaos here at Daytona in the area preseason shootout. Season begins, I think it's July 8th. Is that right? If I had my calendar up.
Yep, that's first points race, and then, of course, the duels next week on July 1st.
So we're kicking off the center of the summer with Area Season 6 racing. Big thanks again to the new partners coming on board for this season, including Blue Tip Pool Builders and Sim Racer Hub and High Banks Podcast and Slinger Racing Graphics. Here we go. 21 laps to go here from Daytona. Justin Munsell's in command, and we're green again. A couple cars popping out of line early.
Yeah, Munsell did not get going well at all, and it looks like Miller are going to take advantage of the situation. And we talked about, maybe taking advantage of the reset. I think Miller is definitely going to take advantage of it. Puts himself in the lead. We know he's good at plate racing. Again, we jokingly call him self-described the plate goat. We'll see what he can do here. He's going to be leading essentially till the end, unless someone can usurp him here. And I can already see in the middle lane, I think that's Garrett Grant trying to get a move on that middle lane to the front.
Yeah, Garrett Grant in this number 5 started 19th place. Pretty far back in the pack, and now he's got a new lease on life here. Casey Lakatos, 27th, very deep in the field, second to last, and he's up in 4th.
Trying to see if they can get something going there in that middle lane. Of course, on the top lane, they already got something going. There's the 7 of James Kelly, who was in the front for a majority of this race. He's getting a decent shove. That in behind him, that is John Hall, in the 0-3.
Jake Nichols, we haven't really seen or heard much from him yet tonight, but now that the big bucks are about to get paid out, you can bet that he'll be in this picture. Maybe plate racing's not his strong suit, but how many times has he just showed up late? Did he win a race at Talladega a couple seasons ago? Just showed up out of nowhere.
So.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprising, has won most things in this series. Of course, the big name we're missing here tonight, Jake Matheson was not able to make it for the shootout. Definitely a big name missing. Dominated a majority of the Cup season.
Whoa, man, you see Garrett Grant, how sideways he was out of 4? He was pushing that Chevy.
Yeah, that's the big thing, too. These guys are going to be pushing a lot harder here, and it's going to get a little bit tighter, especially in the middle line. Got to be careful. Watch out for yourself.
Whoa, big wiggle. Travis Beckner in the 28. Real sideways. And he's going to lose some momentum up there on the high side. JT Poole's going to split the difference there and head to the middle of the road. And we're 3x3 again. They're not holding back and not waiting around.
Michael Curran back near the front. We saw him drop back quite early on after that lead the first wreck. Haven't really seen that 24 near the front of the field. Here is now in the middle, but nowhere for him to go. It's a giant roadblock near the front.
Yeah, this is getting wild already.
They're already stacked 3x3x3. All the way down his back.
In that green car. What a story he's been tonight. Kind of up and down, up and down. Started 17th, down to as low as 19th, and as high as 5th. Packed in behind one of the solar flare cars. That's the one of Seth Knoll.
Seth Knoll trying to make some progress on the bottom. He's third in line on that bottom. He's separated by Justin Munsell, who's the leader coming to this restart. Jeremy Miller leading that bottom lane, Garrett Grant leading the middle, and then the 7 to Sky leading the top.
Through 3 and 4, there we go. Middle lane, Garrett Grant losing some steam as Miller pulls ahead. You mentioned earlier, and we've talked about it, how he describes himself as the plate goat. He's got enough confidence for the entire field. Look at the 6, he's got that whole right front folded in. It's not holding him back at all running P3 right now.
Running P3, trying to push up more, and there will be James Scully taking the lead of this race. It's going to leave John Hall open on the top lane.
Oh, watch that 7 in the 5.
Item.
Gosh, that 7, when he came back across the nose of Garrett Grant, I thought he might get tagged there. It's a dangerous place to be.
I mean, I would argue anywhere in spec is a dangerous place to be, considering how stacked they are 3 wide.
I found myself at a hornet's nest, and I'm trying not to get stung.
I mean, if you can manage not to get stung and lead the hornet's nest to the end, you'll get yourself some money.
Ooh,
it's going to feel like an eternity. There's a big blink. I think for some drivers, it's going to cause a checkup.
Yeah, that was the one of Seth Knoll that blinked out for a moment, and a couple cars kind of wagging the tail there as John Hall dropped. Where did he come from? Was he on the outside lane? They just traded spots.
Might have been.
He just appeared. He drops to the bottom. Watch that push, center return 2. Everyone kind of dragging up the racetrack. James Scioli, he has been in the front camera shot the entire night. And how many laps has he led? 6.
I mean, that's a decent amount considering how many laps you've run, especially at a track like this. And I guess the big thing to talk about too is the fact that he's got Solar Flare Racing colors, a new driver for that team this season. That is a stacked team. Jake Nichols, Seth Knoll, Tyler Nichols, and James Scully all on one team.
Yeah, that is bad news for everybody else. But man, won't matter so much at Daytona, will it? Except for the fact that you'll have some pretty stout teammates. It'll matter a lot more when we get a bit later in the year. John Hall comes up to cover the middle. Man, the Miller Racing crew was stout last year, weren't they, though?
And speaking of which, another big name for Miller Racing departing. Now at Solid Rock Performance, Travis Beckner in the 28 machine.
That'll be a fun story to follow all year long. As the silly season was pretty silly this year, I'd say, especially with Travis Beckner leaving a team that I thought was working pretty nicely. But trying some new things to see if they can improve their performance. And now look at, wow, Kane on the bottom just got his, sorry, that was Miller rather, got his nose slammed by John Hall as he came down the racetrack ahead of the 30. Who's up there? That's Travis Beckner creeping up the outside trying to find purchase up there. He almost tried 4.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe a little bit too early for 4 wide.
We're the 42 of Connor Horn, by the way, all the way back in 22nd place, just biding his time. I think there's still another yellow or 2 to be had before this race.
I think he smells the blood in the water. And, you know, the big thing, of course, you know, obviously these guys, the non-points race, so you don't have to keep in it to the end. But, of course, if you want that money, you get the big debate. Do you push yourself near the front of the field like we see where John Hall, James Scully, Jeremy Miller are? Do you want to wait near the back and wait for things to wait for a big wreck to happen? Because I think it's definitely going to happen.
Down the back stretch, now the middle line has lost a lot of momentum, and so the 30 jumps in to fill the vacuum, and he's going to now pull even with the 0-3 of John Hall in the bottom, and Scioli even on top. 3x3 again. This is spectacular racing at the front here in the area. Preseason shootout. John Hall comes up to cover Miller. That was a dicey move.
The dicey move is going to pay out, though, as he's going to be able to control at least the bottom two lanes. Wasn't able to clear the 7 of Scioli. He was trying to get a run up on that top side with his new teammate and the #1 machine, Seth Knoll, trying to help him out.
Look at Munsell, all the focus he's got. Trying to keep that 6 car on the bottom with assistance from Blaze McKinney in that green 87. And the 13 is Cedric Hunter. We haven't talked about him at all tonight. He started back in 21st, fell all the way back to 25th at one point, and here he is running as high as he's run all evening.
Yeah, and he's had some spots of greatness in Season 5 of area, and he's now putting himself up near the front here again. Quiet driver, will get himself up near the front and perform, and we'll see if he can last there up on that bottom lane, though. He's got Blaze McKinney and Munsell ahead of him, and I will say I'm impressed by Munsell because I thought he might have a little bit of trouble. He's had some damage to the right front of that car after the last caution. I was wondering if he's going to fall off a little bit, not be able to keep the speed up leading the pack to green, but he's kept that car up there, and he's continuing now to lead here.
Whoa, a lot of movement in the center there, the 5. Kind of digging that hole. Down the backstretch, John Hall leads, but it's by inches over Scioli and Munsell.
Big separation out in the middle of the pack. It's kind of gone from that 3x3 wide up to now only the couple front view spots are 3 wide, and they backed out near the back part of the field. They're kind of reorganizing and reshuffling.
Yeah, Scioli felt that outside momentum dying, and he dropped into the center, knowing that the outside wasn't going to go anywhere. But with a triumphant effort from Mason Kane and Seth Knoll, they pull even again with the leaders. And it's 2 Toyotas leading the way now.
How much longer will they be able to hold it for? Got a pack of hungry Fords in behind them.
Oh,
the 6 of 03 and the 31.
Packed in there so tight.
They only had a lap of breathing room, and now they're stacked back up again.
Packed in there like a U-Haul with Beyonce's living room furniture. Into turn 3. Coming to 9 laps to go. Justin Munsell trying to pull even on the bottom with that right front fender bowed in like that. Doesn't seem to be hurting him with assistance from the 87. Blaze McKinney would love to taste clean air up here, but he's just packed in there tight.
That's the worry, though, is right. It's not bothering him for now, but when people start getting pushing a little bit more aggressively towards the end of this race,
oh man,
that might be where he faces some problems.
You can see the different momentums here. The outside lane, despite having less cars in it, is carrying very good speed until the center of the corner when that shorter way around
Mason
seems to prevail.
Kane is reporting that he is hot under the hood, so he's trying to back off. So I think the outside lane's going to die a little bit. You see him trying to pull out a line just to get some sort of air to the radiator to cool it down and not try to lose out the momentum. He's continuing to push Seth Knoll. You see they're backing off a little bit.
He's in a bit of a vacuum. I'm not really sure how you're going to solve this other than just slow down, right? Because there's not really any way to offset yourself laterally all that well. Behind him, a little bit of side by each and crash. 73's in it. And Jake Nichols and Balliet have gone for a slide. Balliet into the inside wall.
He's around, and caution will fly.
And Travis Beckner was also in it. And that is with 8 laps to go, which is going to get us reset for a pretty exciting finish. Let's go back and see what happened to Balliet. Yeah, I saw this. Garrett Grant up in the outside wall. 73 trying to shoot this gap right there. The 07 gets into the 5, and that's really what starts that whole thing.
Yeah, I had a massive amount of neck to it on my end, at least from what I saw.
Yeah, it looks pretty. This contact looks very explosive right there. Bam.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you see Beckner get tagged. Just a little bit of contact. I don't think that'll be catastrophic. Here's Beckner. He just locked up the brakes and woed it down.
Yeah, that was a big break for Connor Horn. He actually lost the pack. I was just about to mention that before that wreck happened. So right back up there with them. And that'll also be big news for Brad Slaughter, who will be getting the free pass.
Yeah, that's great for Brad because he was in a position where he had speed, but Got himself trapped a lap down and needed the yellow. I'm sure he would have appreciated it about 10 laps ago, so he'd have more time to do something with a lead lap position. But I'm sure he'll take it either way. John Hall leads, Scioli second, Munselt, Knoll, and Miller are your top 5 here in the area preseason shootout, or season number 6. And if you're not subscribed here on SimTV, a full season of 3 different championships here in the area iRacing League will unfold here all the way until the tail end of the year. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and join us for all of the festivities. We've also got road racing that will return towards the fall. We've also got it happening right now with the Full Send Sim Spec Miata series that will head to Road America next week, just prior to our Tuesday events. And then they'll end their season in 2 weeks' time at Sebring, and those are always such fun to watch. But Brad Slaughter gets his free pass. And more to go when we get the restart, maybe?
Yeah, so speaking of restarts, let's talk about one of the big changes coming into Season 6. We're elevating from 1 attempt at a green-white checker to 3.
Yeah, and I don't mind that. I think, especially at these plate tracks, when we had, and short tracks to boot, we had a lot of instances where we just would end under yellow, right? And I think the 3 attempts, sometimes you'll use 2, but it's rare that you'd go through all 3. So I'm in support of that, just getting us some more green flag racing.
That's going to add, I think, quite a bit to the strategy as well, right? Because now you got to account for not just 1 extra attempt at a green-white checker, and depending on how the race is going, you need to account for 3 attempts.
Yeah, the fuel piece to that is very important. We've had a number of situations come down to fuel economy in the green-white checker. Brad Slaughter's going to throw on some Mr. Feelgoods here and head back out on the road. Before we get back underway here in the area preseason shootout. Season long, we've got a pretty fun schedule, but I think a lot of it is going to be fairly familiar. We start the season off in a couple of weeks, July 8th at Daytona. Then it's Texas, Pocono, Charlotte, Dover. And before we return to Sonoma, I don't think we've done a stock car race at Sonoma in quite some time. Then North Wilkesboro, Darlington, and then what I'm very excited about, the 9th race of the season, Montreal, Finian.
Yeah, Montreal's going to be really interesting. I don't think I've ever seen a stock car race there in the sim, from what I can recall.
I think Fuel might have done one way back in the day.
Oh,
perhaps.
I think you're right. You're right.
But that was 2019, probably. And then Chicagoland, race 10, then Indianapolis, Talladega, Bristol, Michigan, Iowa, Kansas. We'll finish at Atlanta, which, but it's going to be the old Atlanta.
I was going to say that's the big news there, the better version of Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean,
don't at me.
The new Atlanta is something, but I don't know if it's the thing that
it's
anybody
not Atlanta
asked for.
though.
No, I don't know if it's
like I don't mind the new Atlanta as a track. It's just really unfortunate we had to lose the previous Atlanta.
Yeah, I didn't really love Atlanta all that much before, so I mean, my fandom was mostly during the Kevin Harvick domination years. So,
I mean, I just think it had so much character to it because it destroy your tires.
Yeah. Well, I think they figured they were going to destroy the racing there anyway because it had to get repaved, so they might as well change it up. But I don't know, it didn't work out. All right. Well, it'll be a 4-lap shootout, assuming that we don't get a green-white checker. And if we get a green-white checker, we could probably run up to 60 laps. We'll see how this pans out. I imagine we're going to at least get 1.
Oh, I think, yeah.
And beyond that, I think it takes long enough to get organized that I think getting 1 green flag lap in to get to the white after a green-white checkered start, I think that is easier. But a 4-lap run-up, you're bound to see some chaos because everyone's going to get organized and have time to start making chaotic moves by the time that white comes out. Well, 4 laps left in this short preseason race. Cash on the line. John Hall trying to claim it, and so is everybody else. Green flag back in the air.
Oh, big stack up as JT Poole is going to immediately jump to the outside lane, trying to avoid some contact.
Big
We'll
runs.
see if that'll stick or if the admins are going to say something about that.
Yeah, big runs from behind, too. Travis Beckner popped out of line. All trying to jump up to the high side. Connor Urashak is there with them. They're going to be 3 wide by the time they get out of 2.
I see Brad Slaughter cutting, making some moves in the background. That red and black machine. He's got a new lease on life. Finally has a chance to race up with these guys. Well, he has 4 laps to do it to get near the front if he wants to.
Justin Munsell, let's see him glancing up at the rear view. Scioli is going to give him a shot. Munsell leads into turn 3. And Miller on the bottom giving John Hall a shove. 3x3 for about 5th on back.
The big questions, will this last? JT Poole trying to gain some steam, momentum back near the front. Up near the front, though, there's James Scioli jumping out of line. Seth Snow with the move behind him, going to leave Munsell to dry on the middle.
3 laps to go here at Daytona. All to the bottom, Munsell to the middle, and Scioli to the top. Big wiggle from the 5 at Garrett Grant. And I'll tell you what, the 81 is trying to move forward, but he's just getting stunted. Where are you going to go, right? I mean, look at this mess out the windshield. How do you pick your way through that?
I would say full throttle to the finish, basically, at this point. We reached that point in the race.
Not going to lift until I see a checker flag or God, right?
Yep.
Oh, cars in the wall, crash. 28 Beckner's around hard in the wall. Big, big hit for Travis Beckner. Caution is out. And first, green-white checkered.
He took a huge hit to that wall. That car is definitely going to be out of it.
Here's a look. It's following Anna Sogak. I think the 88 is going to get into the wall first. And it's a stack-up sort of situation right here. The 88 gets in the wall, the 28 gets into him, Connor Horn gets into him, and bam, into the wall. And then he gets center punched again by the 42.
Yeah, solid hit for the 42 as well, Connor Horn. He's going to have to get lengthy repairs in pit lanes. I think he's also going to be done for the night.
Yeah, Connor probably would have been all right. The first impact, then...
Yeah, the second one, though.
Right here, bam.
Oof.
That 28 got all 4 tires up off the ground. Man, big, big hit there. So, how many yellows is that tonight? 4. 39 green flag laps, though, in 49 that we've run so far, but not so bad. 24 lead changes, by the way, in 49 laps, about 1 every 2 laps.
And that's only including the lead changes at the start-finish line.
Yeah, but we have had a lot more than that, haven't we?
It definitely feels like it.
So with now 3 laps to go, this race will be extended at least another lap or 2. So wherever our picks fared, I picked the 1 of Seth Knoll. He's currently 4th, and you picked Connor Horn, and he's 22nd.
And heavily.
So I guess the question now becomes, is Michael Curran going to score this as a non-points event for the announcer picks?
We'll see. We shall see.
Or do I get $50?
$50?
I deserve more.
Are you
I'm a one-man show, baby.
No. All right, then, well.
Oh, he just shut off his microphone. Oh, man. Well, been pleasantly surprised. I mean, this race went by pretty quickly. It's a good thing, too. Again, I mentioned I'd just come off of announcing the Pikes Peak Hill Climb last weekend and was feeling pretty under the weather today. And I've got my...
How high up is Pikes Peak again?
Well, the peak is 14,115. And I was at about 9,300 most of the weekend. But it was the airplane that got me. I had some general head congestion, and then my right ear never fully popped, and then I got stuffy, and yeah, it's been a tough day. But we're almost through with this one. That wall is extremely white, like glowing. Michael Curran says no points for the driver means no points for the commentators. And to that I say, Michael, you make the rules, you can make it whatever you want. And the rule maker will make whatever rule he's bribed to make. So, if I've learned anything in my 26 years of existence.
like Michael Curran's going to see an excess of funds in his account by the end of the night. Not necessarily from winning the race.
Well, he is still in the running himself, isn't he? P6. And there's the one to green, so next time by, be 2 laps to go. And I predict that we're going to get there. I think we're going to get to the white, and then chaos will ensue.
I think we're going to have more than one attempt. I think drivers are going to test the waters with the new rule.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well, right? Run it out. Remember back that, I think it was the Open for the All-Star race with these cars?
Yes.
Had a turn 4 when they just all piled in.
Oh, yeah.
And I had a silly laugh because I was just completely blown away by how hilarious it was in the moment.
Yep.
Yeah. That clip is viewable on the area iRacing socials. Found it the other day. And re-entertained myself. Curhan says he does accept Venmo.
Oh, there you go.
So at least that's it's not as I mean, I was going to give it Bitcoin so the transaction couldn't be traced, but
I mean, works. I mean, yes, but it doesn't work when you announce it to the world.
Well, but now you know I wouldn't do it because I told you, but then I'm going to do it because you think I wouldn't do it because I told you.
I mean, normally we say that this race is like a game of chess, not necessarily the bribing behind the scenes of the race.
Hey, man. Try to make a living in this world. We're coming to 2 to go. And John Hall, Jeremy Miller, and Scioli are your leaders. Here's a look again at your running order before we pull it away for the restart. And I think anybody in the top 15 is in position to win this race. I think if you're beyond that, it's going to take a pretty catastrophic situation to pull your way through. Unless you can make this next lap the busiest of your entire race so far. John Hall, Scioli, and Mason Kane are lined up on the bottom. On the outside, it is Miller, Knoll, and Curhan. Here we go. The area Season 6 preseason shootout. 5 miles left from Daytona, and we're back underway. A good run from the one of Knoll to give the 30 a push.
Yes, so Curran waited a little bit to get on the throttle. He wasn't lined up completely to the bumper of the one. I wonder if he's planning a bit of a slingshot move to the outside to make something happen. Looks like not for now. I'm curious to see who's going to be the first to pull out to make it 3 wide up near the front.
Well, watch the background there. It's the 21 of Eric Wineland, who had an opportunity to go middle 3 wide, but he didn't take it. Now onto the back straightaway. Here comes the shuffling. Big moves here. Curhan jumps to the outside, and he'll pick up Munsell. Blaze McKinney's got nowhere to go but center. And he's all by himself trying to forge his way through the middle.
Well, let's see, do we make it back to the stripe through turns 3 and 4 right now? Munsell backing off. He's going to fall behind Blaze McKinney. Michael Curran on that outside looking to potentially make it 3 wide. He's going to make a look. Here they come to the line.
Here we go. White flag. 1 more lap to go. The area Season 6 preseason shootout. Miller side by side with Hall for the lead. Can the plate go take down the 0-3?
Off they go. Michael Curran trying to make a move to the outside. No one worked with him. Connor Krzyzek trying to go by himself. He's got nothing. That outside lane is stalled out.
Onto the backstretch. Here comes the big runs now. The 30 and the 1. Look at McKinney in that green car. He's all by himself without a shove from behind. But maybe that will pay dividends if these front 4 get together. Into 3 and 4 for the final time.
The Solo Filler Racing guys are mixed up. They're now nose to tail. Let's see what happens here. John Hall leading out of turn 4.
Checkered flag this time. John Hall has the advantage. Can anybody get there at the checkers? They cannot. John Hall wins the area preseason shootout, and they crash behind. Oh my gosh.
Huge wreck behind. Oh boy.
Up and over and on their lids. And everybody lives to the stripe. And there were some tight margins back there. But Hall, Scioli, and Miller, your top 3. Wow. That was something, wasn't it? Let's have a look at the tail end of this. Coming out of 4 here, Finian. And no one could just build a run. I mean, this is not a car that these drivers have a lot of experience in the plate scenario. As here, Knoll gets turned off the nose of McKinney, the 31 of, oh my gosh. Did you see what happened to Mason Kane?
I think a bit at the end there. He'd take another look at that.
Oh my gosh, he got absolutely just destroyed. Got to go back a little farther than this. This is about as ugly as a wreck as you're going to get at Daytona. Watch right here. He's going to get turned right into the outside wall. That's going to be hit number 1. Passenger door hit number 2. Up and airborne here. And then while he's grinding on the ground upside down, gets drilled from underneath by somebody else, and then into the catch fence nose first. That is a nasty wreck here, I will say. Wow.
It is a good thing they don't need these cars for the rest of the season.
I would say so. Let's make sure that we give John Hall the moment he deserves, winning this race, and led a couple of laps, too, 14. So it wasn't like you just came out of nowhere, but there was a celebration in the Celsius 03 car.
Yep, solid job by him to keep that car near the front, clean, and up there where it mattered near the end of that race. And just I think got lucky with 2 laps. Not enough of a run was able to be generated by anyone else.
Mason Kane's on board here. Oh man, was that 73? Who was that?
Yeah, I think that was Jake Nichols that came in. That's the worst part, is seeing a car come in to absolutely annihilate you.
This is
gonna hurt.
Oh man. Gosh, that was ugly. Parts and pieces and debris and all sorts of stuff flying around there. Oh. 88 got tripped up and over. He went for a pirouette. All sorts of crazy moments there. But with that, let's have a chat with the drivers who were successful here tonight. And the first driver to take home some cash is going to be Jeremy Miller, self-described plate goat, comes home in 3rd. Jeremy, it was wild out there at the end, a green-white checkered, and pretty close, 95 thousandths away from winning. What'd you need?
Yeah, I mean, really just wide open. Obviously, it was last 2 laps in both lanes. Nobody's going to have to worry about any engine temps or anything in a green-white checkered like that. So I knew the inside was going to have a bit of an advantage because they're just going to have the shorter way around the track and nobody's going to be coming off of each other's bumpers. I leaned on the 7's door a little bit, but I'm not trying to wreck them or anything. It's going to only do so much. Just didn't get the runs to go my way there at the end.
Well, preseason shootout, right? No points on the line. Really, this is just for fun. But when you look at the season up ahead, is there anything that you can take away from this as far as the drivers around you, or is this really just it's on its own island of action before we kick the season off?
Yeah, I mean, this race is nothing like anything we're going to see in a few weeks with the Trucks Xfinity or Cup cars. Going to go try to win all 3 of those races for 609 Motorsports. Have to thank all of our partners with that, but I don't think anybody that did anything here is going to be driving the same way in those races. Just such a unique car when it comes to this plate racing. Like, I mean, Seth just PM'd me now. He was wide open the whole time, and I know he was. It's just not a lot you can do to really get the runs going. That's why we're packed in, gridlocked 3x3. I know Connor used that term earlier in the race, just called it a traffic jam. So I'm just I'm hoping not to wreck anybody going into Daytona. Felt really stupid at the beginning there. I just want to apologize to Eric and everybody that was caught up in that as well.
Well, Jeremy Miller, 3rd place here in the preseason shootout. Congratulations. We'll see you next week for the duels.
Thanks, Kyle.
And James Scioli comes home 2nd, 64 1,000ths away from taking home the biggest prize tonight, James. But pretty wild race, fun race though, and a lot of green flag running and slicing and dicing 3 wide most of the time, and you were right up in the thick of it for most of the race.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. Happy to be up front the whole race. I know John was up there the whole race too. He did a pretty good job controlling. That last restart's tough. This thing doesn't get hot super quick, so we were all just kind of full throttle pushing each other. Not really much we could do there at the end, and the 3rd lane never really formed to try and break up the middle and get anything going there. So it was kind of unfortunate, but all in all, I thought it was a pretty fun race. I would have liked to go back to old Daytona like we did last season. Maybe we can try that out again next season, but it's nice that you can push in this car now. You don't just scoop the car in front of you, so we were able to get some bigger runs, and we were moving pretty quick too.
Yeah, it was fun to watch, and I think we're looking forward to this season. Silly season was pretty silly. You've teamed up with Solar Flare Racing. How excited are you to join their camp this year and be a part of what I would consider the super team of the Area iRacing League?
Yeah, definitely super excited. They've won couple team championships in a row in the Cup Series, so definitely looking forward to be paired up with them and have some great teammates. Keep pushing me, keep getting me better. I don't want to just stay stagnant and kind of fall off. So happy to join them, and hopefully we can can get the team championship, can get a couple more trophies this season than we did last season, and be there at the end of it.
James Scioli second in the Season 6 preseason shootout. James, we'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
John Hall is the winner. He takes home the biggest prize tonight, $60 for a Segment 2 win. John, congratulations. And honestly, we were surprised. We didn't really see any big runs there at the end, not anything that was big enough to take away your win. How'd you hang on there, coming back to the checkers with an angry field behind you?
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was going to be really tough to hold everybody up on the top, so I kind of waited as long as I could in the zone to keep everybody 2 by 2 there and just hope the bottom prevailed at the end. But I'm glad it did, and had a timely yellow there earlier to set up getting the lead there in the restarts, and then just hold bottom and pray.
Yeah, what was the line? Hold the throttle open until you see God or a checkered flag.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, what a blast. John, congratulations on this. I know it's going to be a short-lived celebration because the points-paying races are coming up pretty quick. And, of course, we've got our 3 different series starting up in a couple of weeks' time. We want to wish you congratulations, and thanks for talking to us tonight.
No, yeah, thank you guys very much. Hoping to keep the Daytona streak alive from last season in the trucks. So it was a good start. Ready to get going.
Thanks so much, John. Congratulations, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
And with that is our top 3 finishers here, Finian. What a great race that was tonight. Great way to start the season off with some pretty exciting action here from Daytona. But this is our speed weeks, of course. We're going to have the duels next week that will set the starting lineup for our Area 500 in our 6th season of racing. Lots of exciting things to share and hopefully some shiny new things to play with here on the broadcast. Finian, final thoughts.
Yeah, can't wait to get the season underway. Again, some excellent racing from these drivers as always. And then, again, duels kicking off next week on July 1st and then July 8th, the first round of the Area Cup Series, the Area 500. Can't wait to see these guys get underway. New teams, some new drivers on the list. I've seen a couple drivers joining the series and some familiar names for people on Sim TV. So we'll be sticking to that in the next couple weeks.
Very excited to see it all happen right here on Sim TV. Next week, the Daytona Duels for the Season 6 of the Area iRacing Series. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.